Today we'll be working in my workbook called Jacob Returns to Canaan. This covers Genesis 32 through 36. And looking at the table of contents, we have in chapter 1 where he prepares to meet Esau. He comes down, and as he comes down to Canaan, he had sent some messengers out to Esau. So Esau is coming towards Jacob with 400 men. That scares Jacob. So he sends 5 herds of animals towards Esau for him. And he splits his group into several groups. And at the end of the chapter, he crosses the Jabbok River. Everybody crosses the Jabbok River, except Jacob stays in the original camp for the night. So then in chapter 2, Jacob wrestles with God, and this is where he gets his name Israel, and this is where his hip is damaged. And we can tell through discovery that it isn't so much wrestling physically as he's wrestling control of his life. And Jacob refuses to let go, which is why his hip was damaged. But he gets the name Israel. So now we're in chapter 3. Jacob meets Esau. Jacob meets Esau, and this covers Genesis chapters 33, 1 through 20. The scriptures start. Jacob looked up, and there was Esau coming with his 400 men. So he divided the children among Leah, Rachel, and the 2 female servants. He put the female servants and their children in front, Leah and her children next, and Rachel and Joseph in the rear. Who does Jacob see coming with 400 men? That's his brother Esau. Jacob divides his family into groups. Who is in the front? Well, you'd have to be really good, to remember these. But the first concubine is Bilhah with her sons Dan and Naphtali. And you can see this on page 3 if you turn back. Let's take a quick look at page 3 so you see what it is. Page 3. The bottom here, the 8. Okay. So let's go back now. So the second concubine is Zilpah with her sons Gad and Asher. Then this follows that group is Leah, and she has Reuben, Simeon, Levi, Judah, Ishkar, Zebulun, and Dinah. And then who's in the rear of this group? That'd be Rachel with her son Joseph. The scriptures continue. Genesis 33:3. He himself went on ahead and bowed down to the ground 7 times as he approached his brother. But Esau ran to meet Jacob and embraced him. He threw his arms around his neck and kissed him, and they wept. From the prior page, we assumed that Jacob would sacrifice everyone before himself. But verse 3 tells us that he went ahead of his family. How many times did Jacob bow down to his brother Esau? 7 times. According to ancient texts, it is proper to bow down 7 times for a king. Although Jacob is doing it to show high respect, in actuality, Esau is a ruler of the region of Edom. Number 2, Jacob went ahead of his family to face Esau. Do you think he would always have done that? Or after his wrestling with God, did he change his plan of meeting Esau? Well, I'm sure his wrestling with God made an impact. But he isn't sacrificing his family over himself. So that's good. What do you think Jacob initially thought when Esau ran up to him? That he was going to kill him. That's how I would think. Did Esau greet his brother with animosity or with joy? With joy. He threw his arms around his neck and kissed him. There are many possibilities as to why Esau greeted his brother with joy rather than wrath. Check which ones seem possible below. A. During these 20 plus years, Esau has also been quite prosperous, so he no longer needed to feel jealous of his brother. That could be true. All the advanced gifts his brother sent to him to greet him changed his mind from anger to joy. Well, that's possible too. He simply forgot all about his brother. In this day and age, they don't seem to do that, so I don't think that's true. The scriptures continue. Genesis 33:5. Then Esau looked up and saw the women and children. Who are these with you? He asked. Jacob answered, They are the children God has graciously given your servant. Then the female servants and their children approached and bowed down. Next, Leah and her children came and bowed down. Last of all came Joseph and Rachel, and they too bowed down. Who did Esau inquire about? All the women and children behind him. Does the family approach in the same order as they were grouped? Yes, they do. What does all the family do when they meet out Esau? They bow down. According to Jacob, who gave him all these children? God had given him all these children. In this group of 4 women and children, we have some women who were able to have children easily, and others who tried for 13 years and only had one. While it, while it is true that children are a gift from God, if a woman is not getting pregnant right away, looking at the scriptures below, what would you advise her? Luke 137. For with God nothing shall be impossible. Ecclesiastes 3:1. There's an appointed time for everything. And and there is a time for every event under heaven. Philippians 4:6. Be anxious for nothing, but in everything by prayer and supplication, with thanksgiving, let your requests be made known to God. I would advise her to just wait on timing. God has a proper timing if you're to give birth to another child. Should we automatically assume she is cursed like the women in the Bible felt they were? Absolutely not. It's timing. It's just timing. The scriptures continue. Genesis 33:8. Esau asked, What's the meaning of all these flocks and herds I've met? To find favor in your eyes, my lord, he said. Then Esau said, I already have plenty, my brother. Keep what you have for yourself. No, please, said Jacob, if I found favor in your eyes, accept this gift from me. For to see your face is like seeing the face of God. Now that you've received me favorably, please accept the present that was brought to you. For God has been gracious to me, and I have all I need. And because Jacob insisted, Esau accepted it. Looking back at Genesis 32:14 and 15, how many different flocks and herds did Esau meet before meeting Jacob? 5 flocks and herds. Boy, I, I apologize. I'm really having troubles with my voice today. Sorry, it's probably Satan, isn't it? How many animals in total again? Oh, we'd have to look here. There were at least 550 animals, if you look back. Why did Jacob insist that Esau keep the many gifts? Because if I found favor in your eyes, accept the gift. Because it's seeing you as like seeing the face of God now that you've received me favorably. Why was Esau originally going to refuse the gifts? Because he had plenty of his own. The exchange about the gifts really reflects the custom of the time. However, if Esau had actually refused the gifts, then it would have meant that he had not forgiven Jacob. Number 5, opinion. Jacob talks about God 3 times in verse 5 through 11. Do you think he was still remembering the wrestling with God? Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm sure that's still in his mind. The scriptures continue. 33:12. Then Esau said, let us be on our way. I'll accompany you. But Jacob said to him, My Lord knows that the children are tender and that I must care for the ewes and cows that are nursing their young. If they're driven hard just one day, all the animals will die. So let my Lord go on ahead of his servant, while I move along slowly at the pace of the flocks and herds before me, and the pace of the children, until I come to my Lord and Seir. What does Esau offer to Jacob? That he would accompany him. There are 2 reasons why Jacob wants Esau to go ahead and not accompany them. What are they? The children are tender and young, and I must care for the ewes and cows that are nursing their young. Driving them hard, I would lose them. Looking again at page 3, what is the age range of the children from Reuben to Joseph? Well, okay, let's look at page 3. Reuben 13, Simeon 12, Levi 11, Judah 10, Ishkar 7, Zebulun 6, Dinah 6, and Joseph 6. And then we have Dan at 9, Naphtali 8, and Gad 8, and Asher 7. So they're all young. They're all young. Looking at page 9, how far was it to travel to the land of Seir? Looking at page 9. See. About 175 miles from Succoth. Well, it's about that. Okay. One way. Okay, so wait. Sorry about that. I was looking for our location here. Therefore, does what Jacob say make sense? Yes. He's going to keep it slow for everybody in his group. Esau came with 400 men, all probably on horseback, so they can travel very fast. Does Jacob say that he will come to Seir? Yes, he says, I will come to Seir. Jacob never actually goes to Seir. Whether he's lying here or situations change to prevent his visit to Seir, we really don't know. The scriptures continue. Genesis 33:15. Esau said, Then let me leave some of my men with you. But why do that? Jacob asked. Just let me find favor in the eyes of my Lord. So that day Esau started on his way back to Seir. The scriptures continue. Genesis 33:17. Jacob, however, went to Succoth, where he built a place for himself and made shelters for his livestock. That's why the place is called Succoth. Did Jacob follow Esau down to Seir? Well, not yet. He's heading the wrong direction. Where did Jacob go instead? Succoth. Make a line from Manham to Peniel to Succoth. Okay. Manham to Peniel. And Peniel to Succoth. What did Jacob build and make at Succoth? He made shelters for his livestock. In fact, in the Festival of Booths, it's also called Succoth is a booth. Succoth actually means shelters or tents, which is why the Jewish Festival of Booths or the Feast of Tabernacles is also stated as celebrating Succoth. Bible scholars see Jacob as lying to Esau when he tells him he'll be going to the land of Seir, but there are two other possibilities. First, he has not seen his father for 20 years or more, who lives in Hebron. And second, he had an experience with God at Bethel, and God had told him in Genesis 31 to return to the land of Canaan. It is possible that he planned to visit his brother after that, but it never happens. Scriptures continue. Genesis 33:18. After Jacob came from Padan Aram, he arrived safely at the city of Shechem in Canaan, and camped within the sight of the city. For 100 pieces of silver he bought from the sons of Hamor, the father of Shechem, the plot of ground where he pitched his tent. Basically a large plot of ground because he has a lot of tents, not just one. Instead of going to Seir, Jacob and his group go from Succoth to Shechem. The distance from Succoth to Shechem is only about 8 miles. However, they had to cross the Jordan River as well. What did Jacob buy with 100 pieces of silver? He bought a piece of land so that he could pitch his tent. Who did he buy this land from? The father of Shechem. Hamor is the father of Shechem. Shechem is the son, and also the name of the city that Jacob camps near. So Shechem, the son, is probably named after an ancestor. He figures prominently in our next chapter. Item of interest. When the land is divided up to the 12 tribes, this land is given to Ephraim, the son of Joseph. Jacob had allocated this land to Joseph on his deathbed when he said, Genesis 48:22. And to you I give one more ridge of land than to your brothers, the ridge I took from the Amorites with my sword and my bow. We do not have this battle in the Bible. However, we know it's the same land as the Hebrew word used here for the ridge of land is identical with the place named Shechem, and it's also in the land of Joseph's sons. Genesis 33:20. He erected an altar there and called it Eloi Israel. Halo Israel means mighty one, God of Israel. Elo Israel. Yeah, there you go. So we come to the end of the chapter, and I'm glad that you made it through, despite my voice and my voice issues. And so let's see if we can do this crossword. Number 2, how many times did Jacob bow to his brother? 7. He bowed 7 times. In Succoth, Jacob made shelters for his animals. Number 7, which wife met Esau with Jacob? Rachel. That was the last. Which wife met Esau with Jacob? Rachel. For 100 pieces of what he purchased a piece of ground from. For 100 pieces of what he purchased a piece of ground from the son of Hamor. Silver. Strange way of writing the question. What land does Esau live in? Seir. 1 down. Esau came to Jacob with 400 men. Instead of Seir, Jacob went to Succoth, and that's the scripture spelling of Succoth. Jacob sent all these herds to Esau to find favor in his eyes. After Succoth, Jacob and his group moved to what town? Shechem. After Succoth, Jacob and his group moved to what town? Oh, I did that. Sorry. How many boys did Jacob have? At this point, he had 11. What did Jacob build on his plot of ground? An altar. Okay, that's the end of this chapter. And thank you very much. Have a good day.